Hi there folks, and welcome into TK Power Sports. We have an exciting video for you because we are down here in lovely Arizona with the Yamaha RMAX. But not just this unit, we have the entire RMAX lineup. So we're going to compare that 2-seat model to the 4-seat compact to this big 4-seater with a dump bed and tell you which one works best in which situation. Let's dive into it right now. First of all, we have to talk about the RMAX lineup for 2025 because it is revised. So starting on the small end, you have the RMAX2, and like the name suggests, that's for 2 passengers, and it still has that fully dumping bed on the back. Then you move up to the RMAX4 Compact. That model will take 4 passengers, but it does not get a dump bed, so therefore it gets a little bit of a shorter wheelbase than this guy, the RMAX4, which gets 4 seats and the fully dumping bed. So you're getting 3 different wheelbases here, depending on, what suits your needs. Do you need to bring people? Do you need to bring stuff? Well, now Yamaha has an RMAX, which should work for you. But now let's dive into some of the finer details. So the model we have sitting right here is the RMAX4, and it's the limited, which means it's the top trim. It's getting all of the features, such as an integrated Warren winch down here, which is really nice. I like these recovery points too, really easy to get to up front, which is handy. Moving around the side, this is a set of 30-inch Maxxis Carnivore tires, but what's behind that is more important with the suspension. Now there's a number of different shock setups you can get with your RMAX. When you go for the limited, you get the Fox IQS shocks. That means that these are adjusting on the fly, and you can control the damping force from inside the cab using a rocker switch. Then if you go for an XTR model, you're going to be getting the Fox QS3 shocks. That stands for Quick Switch 3 because there's 3 settings, although on those you got to physically get down here and move the clickers. Now if you go for the RMAX Sport, you get a Fox shock that has way more adjustability. You can adjust both damping and rebound force individually, and there's about 25 clicks for each one. So yeah, you can really dial that shock in on the Sport. And then if you do go for just the base R-Spec model, you don't get any of that adjustability. So yes, depending on which trim you get, that's going to tell you which one of these shocks that you get. Now as we roll back here, I already mentioned this is the longest model in the lineup, so you can just see the wheelbase here is absolutely massive, and that is to accommodate this, a fully dumping box on the rear end. And I can show you, you can dump it from just one side. It is that easy, and I think this is what's going to sell a lot of people on this model because it still packs the dump bed. And now folks, here we are behind the wheel. So we're in Box Canyon here in Arizona, and it's gorgeous in the desert right now. It's all green and lush, and I'm not used to seeing that. So yeah, great area. We've been in all kinds of different terrain today. Sandy washes, big rocks, rock shelves for rock crawling, and then a little more wide open. So we've gotten a good sense for these RMAX in a whole bunch of different scenarios. And honestly, it's been really refreshing to have all the models and be able to drive them back to back because I get a really good sense for the differences. So first we'll talk power, and this might be obvious, but the bigger the model, the less powerful it feels, and that's just straight up a power to weight ratio. Once you get in this big RMAX4, it doesn't feel quite as punchy as the smaller compact or the RMAX2, but don't get me wrong, that doesn't mean there is a lack of power here. For everything we've done today, we've had plenty of jam. I just stopped to put it in low right there, in low range, and low range is quite low. So for the rock crawling we've done today, it's been excellent to be able to have that. Stop real quick, slap it in low, and you're ready. So let's take a look at these back seats now. I'm gonna go ahead and climb in. I do like how wide they open. That's nice. And I fit pretty good in here. I stand at 6'2", and I got tons of headroom, even with the helmet, that's no problem. The handhold is at a decent distance for me. I think the thing I like the most is the angled floor, and here I can show you. The floor gives you that angle and it gives you that grip so you can really dig your feet in, and that's actually gonna help to keep you in place, even more so than having your hands up here. One other thing I'll show you on the door is they actually put these soft pad points on your door, on the center console, and that's exactly where my knee is gonna contact, so I'm not just contacting the hard plastic. So I like those little nods to comfort. The only thing that bugs me is this shoulder guard right here. For me, a bigger, wider guy, I'm kind of into it the whole time. I get the idea. It wants to keep me in the vehicle for safety. That's a good thing, but just be warned, if you're big like me, yeah, you are kind of bumping into that. But overall, it's quite comfortable back here. And I should also mention there's a huge storage bin over here on my right. It's actually 6 gallons, so you can put a lot of stuff in here for the passengers. But why don't we go take a look at the Compact now and see how the seats compare. And here's the back end of the RMAX4 Compact. So no dump bed, you just get this little accessory bed extender if you want it. What's really cool back here is that the seats can push forward to give you more storage space, and it's just the right amount of space for a spare tire. Now there's no accessory spare tire holder for the Compact because there's just not enough space. But you can fit a spare in there if you give up one of your seats. And now we'll go climb in the other seat. So first of all, again, door opens nice and wide, and I'm able to climb in. So the biggest difference between the Compact and the full-size RMAX4 is this big plastic engine shroud that's down here on my left leg. It just means that my knees are sort of pointed outwards away from the machine, and my legs feel a little squeezed together. I didn't have any of that in the full-size RMAX4, but in the Compact, yeah, it's all about the legs. In terms of my upper body, it's fine. Tons of headroom. I like the handhold still at a good distance, and I like that the floor is angled as well, so I can dig my feet in. But the one compromise is just the fact that my legs are kind of jammed together. So yeah, RMAX4 Compact is enough for a full-size adult, but it's a little squishy. If you move up to that full-size RMAX4, then a full-size adult is going to be in total comfort. You just got to pick which one works better for you. Now let me talk front seat comfort for a second. Again, I've been in all the models today. The cockpit up here feels basically the exact same in all of them, and that's a good thing. I stand at 6'2", 300 pounds, and I fit in here just fine. Tons of headroom. I haven't smacked my helmet even once today, which is nice. The only thing I will bring up is this shoulder guard over here. Yamaha has done this in their side-by-sides for a while. I get the thinking, it's for safety, it's to make sure you're not leaning out, you're keeping yourself tucked in. It almost forces you into a tighter driving position with your arms too. So I like the safety aspect. I guess I just want to say that I'm bumping into it constantly. My shoulder's always sort of bouncing off of it. So I'm sort of always aware that it's there. So it's something to keep in mind. Yamaha adds these shoulder guards. I like the safety, but yeah, you're going to be bumping that sucker a lot. Back to the driver's seat though. Seat's good. Steering wheel has great contours to it. And I really like the dead pedal setup for my left foot. So I can really, as the driver, dig my foot in over there and keep my whole upper body planted. And then, yeah, sight lines are quite good. I like the mirrors here. They are accessory mirrors, but I'm a big believer in having mirrors, so nice to have them on the units we're riding today. Let me show you the features here in this limited model because it is packed with them. First of all, over here to the right of your ignition, you get your D mode switch that gives you sport, trail, and crawl mode. That's going to affect your throttle mapping and just how much throttle you have to actually give it to get moving. Then we get our electronic power steering control. There's 3 settings: low, standard, and high. So in high, it's the lightest steering. In low, it's the heaviest. Then because we have the IQS suspension, there's your suspension switch. So you have comfort, medium, and firm, and you get the cool little screens. And then over here, a winch control, and then of course you get auxiliary light switch right there. Now of course you've already noticed the screen. This is Yamaha's new Adventure Pro unit, and I want to show you the details on it. First of all, I'll mention that this is actually the infotainment setup that's been on the Wave Runner for a number of years. So the guys in the 4-wheel division obviously tapped the Wave Runner guys and said, hey, we'd like to borrow your software, and it works excellently, and that's why they they did that. So first of all, I'll show you, the screen is customizable. So you can set, you know, whatever you want. You want your air intake temp right there. You got it. You want to see what music you're listening to, water temp, your diff status, you can throw that up there. So love that it's customizable. That's a really important aspect of any of these screens. And then this screen is always ready to go with your pitch and roll and your map. And there's your map, and we have been using it today. Our ride has all been pre-programmed in here. Now let me zoom back in because I zoomed way out, but there's our whole ride we're doing today in the Box Canyon area of Arizona. So it's great to have the GPS, and you can plug a USB stick in here and download a GPX file so you can make maps and take them to other systems, or you can take GPX files you already have and upload them here. So there's some telemetry, there's your four-wheel drive settings, there's your music settings, there's your backup camera. Yes, standard backup camera here on the limited model, and I think this makes total sense. Side-by-sides are getting bigger, they're getting wider, harder to see out of, so why not give me the camera? What I like about this one, you can see in the rear bottom corners there, those are the rear tires, so you can actually see exactly where those tires are. Gives you a great sense for where the vehicle is. And then finally, all your settings. Now the last thing I'll mention is just the fact that it's been super sunny out here today, and doesn't matter what situation I've been in, I've been able to look down and get the information off the screen, so no issues with glare or anything like that. So definitely like this updated Adventure Pro here in the RMAX. Now I've got to talk about turf mode and diff lock. Turf mode, first of all, I just think it was time. Yamaha always caught flack because they wouldn't let you unlock that rear differential. And they say it was mainly a durability issue. They liked that diff always being locked because then they never had any problems with it breaking, quite frankly. And now they say they've found a system that they believe is gonna meet Yamaha durability standards. So finally we get turf mode. The only thing I'd like to see is turf mode spread throughout the Yamaha lineup. I'd like the Grizzly and the Kodiak to get turf mode as well. Because yeah, a lot of the times, you're cruising around on your lawn or on your cottage property or a place that you don't want to tear it up, and previously you didn't have that option. So thumbs up for turf mode. And same goes for diff lock. The front diff locker is not new on these machines. Yamaha has just straight up made it better. So not only does it engage at higher speeds, but when you get the electronic power steering sort of compensating for that front diff lock, you can actually forget the front diff lock is on. Yamaha said that to us when they told us about the system, and I figured they were exaggerating, but truly they are not. When you put it in front diff and the steering really cranks up its boost, you can forget that that thing is locked. And that's massive. I mean, today we've been in so many rock crawling situations where I've gone diff lock, off, and cycling between them. Yeah, you don't notice a difference, except that you're getting way more traction all of a sudden. So, you know, they took a system that already worked well with their front diff locker, and they just made it better. So my last point about the RMAX family is that in the world of sort of sport recreation units, units that sort of blur that line between the world of fun and the world of work, I think the RMAX skews a little more towards the fun side, and that's a good thing. Like, we're out here bombing through the desert, the suspension is absolutely eating stuff up. I can take these trails sometimes at 40, 50 miles per hour, and the machine feels totally settled. And then the fact that you still got the dump bed and decent towing capacity means you know it's gonna work hard. So yeah, I think in this world, this one skews more sport, and that's a good thing. You can almost forget that they even planned on having this be a utility model whatsoever, because the sport half of the equation is so good. And I don't feel like I say that a lot about a lot of sport rec units. I feel like a lot of these units come from the utility side and then they try to make them more fun. The RMAX feels like it's the other way around. They focused on making it super fun first and then added the utility with the bed and a hitch back there. So yes, this is the kind of model I'd say if you just want to have fun trail rides and then get some work done, this thing is going to serve you really well. And by now I'm sure you're wondering, well, what the heck does it cost? Well, let me throw up the pricing for you right here. Well, folks, we're off the trail now. We were out there for a good 8-hour day, and I got to ride all of these different RMAX models. So let me just give you a very quick rundown of what I think each one does well and not so well. So starting with the small one, the RMAX2, the real beauty there is the handling, the quick feeling handling, that quick turning radius, and just straight up power. I mean, that's the lightest machine of the RMAX lineup, so it feels the quickest, it straight up feels the most powerful. If you want the most exciting performance here, RMAX2 is your choice. Moving up to RMAX4 Compact, I think that wheelbase is really the best of the bunch. It's long enough to smooth out the ride, it's long enough to deal with some of those rock crawls that we were doing, but it's also not that long that it doesn't feel like a big boat. So yes, when it comes to the overall size, really like the RMAX4 Compact, and then you get those seats and you get a little bit of that adjustability in the back where you can choose cargo over people or people over cargo. So I like that aspect of the Compact. And then moving up to the big RMAX4, that's just the big comfy couch of the lineup. It doesn't feel nearly as quick as the other two do. And yes, the turning radius isn't as good, but straight up comfort, it's the most comfortable because that huge wheelbase just smooths out the trail and then you get all that weight behind you. So yeah, if you're looking for outright comfort, go for that big RMAX4. Although I think the biggest takeaway, honestly, is that Yamaha is offering more choice, and more choice is always a good thing. If you really want an RMAX, but you have a family or don't have a family, well, that's okay. There's gonna be a model that will suit your needs the best. So yeah, you know what, folks? That's the end of this one. Now, of course, I need to hear from you. Drop in the comments. Let me know what you think of the entire RMAX family and everything you've seen in this video. As always, while you're down there below, don't forget to hit like, hit subscribe, hit join to become a member, and then come right back here to TK Power Sports to see what we're testing next. See ya.